If you're not going to be standing outside my window with a boombox in the rain, then like, I don't want to know. Oh and girl, you're in some danger. Seek help, let us know. Are you okay? Grip me in, pull me in. I want to read about gut-wrenching, heart-pounding, erotic, passionate love as giving situationship love, and personally, I don't want to read about that. Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, my name is Lisa and welcome back to another video. We have a few house rules actually. Number one, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button. It's the big red shiny button down below that says subscribe. I know you guys are gonna like being here. You know you guys are gonna like being here, so we might as well make it official. Go ahead and subscribe and stay locked in forever. Give this video a big thumbs up, and that just makes sure that you see my face a lot more on your screen. In this video, we are going to be talking about all the books that I've read so far in my reading journey. I started my reading journey in 2024, so I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read in 2024 and 2025. So I do want to say a huge hello and hi to BookTube. I hope you guys can welcome me. I started my reading journey in 2024, and I was literally just a girl trying to fall in love with books again. When I was younger, I had an avid love of reading. As I got older, I kind of lost my love for reading, and I didn't actually pick up a book for years. Last year, I really wanted to fall back in love with reading again. So I set myself a challenge to read a book a month, and I started last year in March, and I have been reading ever since then, and I have absolutely, totally fallen in love with books again. And that feeling that was awoken in me made me start my book club. So I started the Booked and Busy book club last month. We are currently at 243 members, but I'm going to get into that more at the end of the video. Let's get into it. So we are starting off with Blood Orange by Harriet Tice, and actually my latest read. I just finished this book last month. When I tell you guys, I have never been so enthralled and addicted to a book. So the protagonist in this book is a woman named Alison. She is married with one child, and she's a lawyer who is having a very sordid, dirty affair. That is how we are introduced to Alison. Alison is described as chaotic, sloppy, selfish, just to name a few. Alison seems to be super caught up not only just with her work but her affair as well. Her husband Carl resents her for this. As we get more into the book, we meet a character named Madeline, and Madeline is actually Alison's client who she now has to defend in a murder case, and Madeline has supposedly murdered her husband. We see Alison almost feel sorry for Madeline in a way. It's very interesting how we see Alison sympathize with Madeline when it turns out actually that Alison and Madeline are in very similar situations. The theme of abuse comes up again and again in this book, and it's almost a back and forth that Alison is having with herself in her mind. She seems very conflicted about whether she is actually being abused or not by the men in her life. In our book club, a lot of the girls complained that they felt like the ending fell flat. Ultimately, I gave this book a big whopping 5 juicy stars. I absolutely loved this book. However, I felt like this book had the perfect ending. I did not see this story play out any other way. At the end of the story, I feel like they tried to make Alison the good guy, and I wasn't buying that. I'm not falling for that. Alison is not the good guy. But ultimately, yes, I did sympathize with Alison, because I do believe that if she had a better support system, she would have been able to push through and make better choices. It kind of made me think about the theme of women not investing into their female friendship, the consequences of that, and how that can affect women in their later life. Throughout the book, Alison was mentioning she didn't have any female friends that she was super close to, and that just kind of made me think about how women are always left to pick up the pieces. Everybody in the story is a big piece of crap, and especially Alison and her husband Carl. They're both trying to play this game of moral police, prove to each other that they're the better parent, but they're both absolutely shitty parents, and that is proved at the end of the book. There was limited character growth with the protagonist or any other characters in this story, actually, bar Madeline maybe. All the other characters in this book did not finish this book as better people. They are all terrible people. For me, I appreciate character growth, even if it's not with all of the characters. I would think because of that, I wouldn't love this book as much, but I still loved it because it was just super chaotic and crazy. I'm so glad that this was the first book that we read in our book club. Next book on my list is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I was so blessed to have this be the first book I read on my reading journey. I gave this book another whopping 5 big juicy stars. This is a book for the lover girls. I will always be a lover girl. So this book focuses on a married couple called Yasmin and Josiah. It's an amazing story about the trials and tribulations of marriage, but wrapped into a love story and without the normalization of terrible people doing terrible things in marriage. And to me, this was kind of a reminder that how even the most perfect of love isn't easy. We kind of have this big idea of soft life, soft love, and if your partner is the perfect person for you, that your relationship will not require any hard work. Yasmin and Josiah were a perfect couple. They were perfect lovers. They were super in sync with each other. They had this amazing history, but they had some trials and tribulations in their marriage. They could have easily just walked away and said, you know what, this is not worth it. They decided to stay and work on their marriage. I absolutely loved the happy ending of the way we saw their friends and family be such a big support system and play a role in supporting Yasmin and Josiah individually and as a couple as well. I have never loved a book couple as much as I love Yasmin and Josiah. If you're looking for a lovely book to start your reading journey, I would definitely recommend this one. The next book on my list is My Sister, the Serial Killer. This is by the author Oyekan Braithwaite. I'm not sure how you pronounce her name. This was actually the 6th book that I read in my reading journey, and I absolutely loved this book. It focuses on an older sister named Korode and her little sister named Ayola. This book frustrated me in so many different ways. I felt like I could strongly relate to this book. If you're an older sister, the eldest sister, eldest daughter, read this book. So many twists and turns. Again, I felt like there was no character growth, no character development with Korode, especially the ending. Ayola still gets away with it. Is she going to do this again? Is this going to happen again? Ultimately, Korode is encouraging her sister's bad behavior. Whether she outwardly agrees with it or not, if you're continuing to run around after her and clean up after her mistakes, then you are encouraging the bad behavior. I love the fact that it was set in Nigeria. For me, the books are not necessarily about the plot, but more about the atmosphere. I like feeling as if I'm in the story myself, and I definitely felt that with My Sister, the Serial Killer. I do wish that we had some consequences of some actions for Ayola. There were themes of abuse, emotional abuse and physical abuse with the relationship with their deceased father, but there was also themes of emotional abuse between Korode and her sister. Do wish that Korode did find a voice. I gave this 5 big juicy stars on the Goodreads app. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. The next book on my list is Verity by Colleen Hoover. This was a super intense novel. I felt like we desperately needed a part 2. I had so many questions. Reading this and reading My Sister, the Serial Killer made me realize how much I absolutely love psychological thrillers. They have become my favorite book to read. The protagonist in this book is Lowen. Lowen is a struggling writer trying to get her big break. We see her troubled relationship with her mother kind of play out. Kind of gave a lot of context maybe to why Lowen made some of the decisions that she made later on in the book. For me, some parts of this novel were hard to read because they were super graphic, especially the diary entries, journal entries of Verity, which we are yet to find out whether those were actually real. I think we can say for a fact that Verity is very manipulative. She is also very self-absorbed. She is not meant to be a mother in any capacity, in any way. She should have never been allowed to have children. My question was, who's more manipulative, Verity or Jeremy? We found out through the manuscript / diary entry that Verity killed one of her twin daughters. So we are left with so many questions. Was Verity telling the truth? Or was it all just part of her manipulation tactics? She is very manipulative, very cunning, very conniving. I gave this book 5 stars. I need Verity part 2 because I have so many questions. Is Lowen safe? Is Jeremy a scary person too? Was the manuscript the truth or not? What part did Jeremy have to play in this confusion? Because he comes across as the innocent, kind, loving husband, but we find out at the end of the book that he's not so innocent. What part did he play in the madness? That's what I really want to find out. And is he just as sick and manipulative as Verity? Ultimately, I feel like Lowen should have just killed the both of them. Just got rid of the both of them and left that terrible, scary mansion. Lowen girl, you're in some danger. Seek help, let us know. Are you okay? Next book in my list is Ties That Tether by Jane A. Caro. I absolutely love this book. On the Goodreads app, I gave this book 5 big juicy stars. As aggravating as some of the protagonist choices were, this book was a lovely story about a girl turning into a woman. Part of venturing into womanhood is learning how to make your own choices for yourself, despite what everybody else wants you to do, despite what everybody else's expectations are of you. And I felt like Ties That Tether was a perfect story that encapsulated all of that, and really about the journey into becoming your own woman and standing on your own 2 feet. Ultimately, we just watch Azure trying to find her voice, and she eventually does find it. So that's why I love this book, because it has a happy ending. This is a really, really good book for the eldest daughters or anybody trying to live their life with the weight of their parents' expectations. I gave this 5 stars. This was a really, really good life and romance novel all intertwined into one in a really whimsical way. The next book is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This was the second book that I read in my reading journey. This book honestly fell flat. It had a very, very strong beginning, but very underwhelming middle and end. It was giving situationship love, and personally, I don't want to read about that. I want to read about gut-wrenching, heart-pounding, erotic, passionate love. This didn't give any of that. It was a cute story, but just cute. And having read Before I Let Go first and then going on to read this, you can see why I was underwhelmed. Protagonist in this book was Eva, and her love interest was a man named Shane. If you're not going to be standing outside my window with a boombox in the rain, then like, I don't want to know. It wasn't the yearning that I was looking for in a romance novel. Definitely wasn't one of my favorite reads. It's another Kennedy Ryan book. This could be us. She just does romance and life so well. The protagonist in this book is a married and kept woman by the name of Soledad. Right from the beginning, we get straight into the plot twist. I mean, jaw-dropping, mouth-opening, wide plot twist. Absolutely love the character growth of Soledad. We really saw her come into herself, who she was at the beginning in her marriage to Edwin and who she was at the end of this story. I think this book is a really, really good book for the ladies who are trying to heal or on their healing journey. Whatever the weather, whoever you are, you always need to put yourself first. And it's so important, especially for us women, to have a good sense of self, who we are and what we want, and not succumb to the wants, needs and expectations of everybody around us. I really did feel sorry for Soledad in the beginning, but in the end, I was absolutely in awe of her. She took everything that she was going through in her stride, came out a victor, a winner in what could have been a very tragic and pathetic story. I just loved her saucy romance and chemistry with Judah Cross, the man that you are, and seeing him navigate life with autistic children. And I loved seeing him have a really healthy co-parenting relationship with his ex-wife as well. I gave this book 4 juicy stars. Claire Douglas, The Woman That You Are. She does psychological thrillers incredibly well. Please, Claire Douglas, do not ever stop writing books. Please, don't stop. Ever. I'll have nothing to do. I first read The Girls Who Disappeared. We have a couple of protagonists in this book. We have Olivia, lives with her mom in a quiet, sleepy town, and Olivia has some dark secrets. She has a very dark, menacing past that she has not quite come to terms with. And then we have Jenna, who is a journalist who is married and on the brink of divorce. For me, this book was definitely a page turner. There were so many juicy plot twists. I gave this book 5 big, juicy, fat stars because I absolutely love this book. There were so many questions as we get deeper and deeper into the story. What happened to the girls? And what part did Olivia have to play in it? We see a very interesting dynamic between Olivia and her mom. I absolutely love me some pathetic fallacy, and I feel like that is something Claire Douglas does really, really well. She always creates this moody, rainy, dark, menacing atmosphere. She just does it so well, and it just has me hooked every single time. It's always this sleepy town which first glance seems really innocent, but the more and more you know about this town, the more and more you stay in this town, you realize how many dark, sordid, dirty little secrets this town is holding. I gave this big juicy 5 stars. Next Claire Douglas read is The Wrong Sister. This one is a bit thicker and a lot more to get through than The Wrong Sister, but but nonetheless definitely worth it. We have a few protagonists in this book. That is something that Claire Douglas does really well. Different POVs from all of the protagonists. I mean, what is a Claire Douglas read without some amazing juicy plot twist? The story pretty much starts off with chaos, which I absolutely love. Grip me in, pull me in. Tasha and Alice are two sisters. Alice's husband is brutally murdered within the first couple of chapters in this book. Who did it? Who killed Alice's husband? And then as we start to get the POVs from the third sister that supposedly nobody knows about, Bonnie. Who is Bonnie and where does she belong? This book was so good. Surpassed all of my expectations. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. The wrong sister was giving suspense ×2. Not sure if I entirely loved the ending because I felt like, if Tasha is letting her sister get away with these things, is she really growing as a character? It wasn't a terrible ending. It wasn't a bad ending either. I was just like, oh, okay, how far will you go to protect your family? Claire Douglas, you did your big one, as you always do though. Okay, the next and final book on my list is The Neighbour Favour by Christina Forrest. I absolutely love this book. This was such a cute rom-com, but not in the way that 7 Days in June was a cute rom-com. This was a real, true, cute rom-com. I really adored the love story between Lily and Nick, finding their way to each other and falling in love with each other. They both became better people. They both grew as individuals. And I always feel like that's such a necessary part of a great love story. I found it very easy to identify and see parts of myself in Lily. Sometimes it's just really hard to believe in yourself. What I also really did love was the stories of her sisters in this book, Iris and Violet. They both add something completely different and they have their own stories, and I believe there is a sequel of this book focusing on Violet, I think, or Iris, I can't remember. I think that's the next book I actually want to read, and the next book we'll be reading at the Booked and Busy Club, so the link will be down below if you want to join and read with us. Often found myself smiling from ear to ear when reading this book. On the Goodreads app, I gave this book 5 stars. I really love this. Those are all the books I've read so far. I know this video was definitely a lot different to the videos that I usually do, but nonetheless, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you're a reader girly or somebody who's trying to fall in love with books again, then the Booked and Busy book club is just the book club for you. The link to join my book club will be in the description box down below. So don't forget to click the link, check that out, and join the book club. And meet me in the comments down below and let me know if you've read any of the books I've read, your thoughts on the books, and what book you want to read next. Hopefully I'll be back soon with a similar video. I love you guys so much. I hope you're having a fabulous Sunday, and I will see you guys in my next one. Mwah, 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 mwah. Bye.